Hello and welcome to the 5-Minute University topic on encouraging classroom participation. This presentation is brought to you by Jenny Van Amberg from Northeastern University. As faculty, we serve multiple roles in the classroom: instructor, facilitator, mentor, even at times cheerleader or coach, all with the goal of engaging students in their learning. According to Dale's Cone of Experience, most of us remember 10% of what we read, 20% of what we hear, 30% of what we see, 50% if we combine seeing and hearing, 70% of what we discuss with others, such as talking or writing, and 90% of what we do. As we learned during the 5-Minute University topic on effective lesson planning, you need to draw the students in and plan activities that will encourage them in their learning. This is also called active learning. As a part of the planning process, you need to not only consider the amount of time that will be required for each learning activity, but also your experience and comfort level with the active learning technique, as well as making sure the planned activity meets the intended learning outcomes. Active learning should include 3 critical steps as part of your planning. They are CPR. C for content, meaning that you provide specific instructions for the activity so the students know what they are to be doing. Participation. Allow sufficient time for the students to be engaged with the activity, but not too much time that they have moved the discussion off topic. And reflection, or time to debrief, which is the most critical step. Help the students to connect the learning and the intended outcomes. Some active learning activities could include the questioning technique. Prepare questions that mix the 3 levels of remembering, applying, and evaluating. Remembering questions are related to recall and basic knowledge of information taught and learned. Application questions require the students to apply, to relate, or to analyze newly learned concepts or principles. Higher order questions are the evaluation questions that challenge students to exercise judgment and be able to justify their answers. These types of questions help in the development of critical thinking and/or problem-solving skills. Remember to give 30 to 60 seconds before asking for a response. You could link questioning with the use of clickers to assess student learning as an entire class. You could also use the think, pair, share process, which gives students 30 to 60 seconds to develop their individual response, then pair up with a teammate to explain their response for another 2 to 4 minutes, and finally, ask groups or pairs to share their responses. The next example is thinking colors or thinking hats. Students are organized into small groups of 5 and each are assigned a card of colored paper. The color of the paper signifies the role they should represent during the discussion. Additional details can be found in the resource handout. Gaming is a fun way to engage students in their learning. The incorporation of different types of games during class allows students to apply concepts, integrate new knowledge, and/or review previous learned material. Many students enjoy the incorporation of games into classroom learning. More advanced engaged learning activities that require additional planning by the instructor are case-based scenarios, team-based learning, or problem-based learning. Here are summary tips. Think about the intended outcomes or skills that you want the students to be able to do at the end of class and use the active learning technique to help you reach that goal. Be mindful of the time needed to complete the activity. It usually takes more time than you think, so plan for 1 to 2 activities for each 50-minute lecture. Don't forget to check that you have incorporated CPR as a part of your planning process, with most emphasis on the R. Pick a couple of different active learning activities to try. It may not work perfect the first time, but you can always refine it for next time. This concludes our time for 5-Minute University. After completing a short survey on the next page, you can access the handout full of great resources to engage students in your classroom.